Welcome to The Read Along,
a mini book club for your ears.
I'm your host, Scott.
I'm your other host, Anita.
And join us on a journey through a good book,
one chapter at a time.
Do you like talking about movies? Do you like talking about mediocre movies? Do you like talking about how you could have fixed mediocre movies? Well, I certainly do, and you can listen to me, Scott C. Bourgeois, along with my co-hosts Greg Beaver and Liam Creswick, as we give our notes in I Have Some Notes. You can follow it now on your podcatcher of choice or support it by visiting patreon.com/I Have Some Notes. Floor's in.
Thank God.
Hot day.
Ugh.
Took the kids to the fair.
Well, you did.
Yeah, it's the day before our national holiday.
Happy Canada Day, everybody. Or by the time you read this, happy post-Canada Day, everybody.
Yeah. So basically every year for Victoria Day and for Canada Day, the nearby mall, because it's near to like the big park where the local community league is kind of based out of,
yeah,
they bring in like carnival rides.
Yeah.
For a couple days over the long weekend.
There's a whole little midway over there.
Yeah, so Grandma and me and the kids went on rides for almost 3 hours this afternoon.
Because I had to work.
Yeah, it was a hot day.
Yeah.
We were all sunscreened up, and by the time we got back, we were all like nappy because it was just like, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys got to go out and enjoy the sun, though. That makes me happy.
Yeah. And I mean, as we discussed earlier, we mostly go for the kids. So it's not a big deal for us to miss a couple carnival rides.
My heart is not sore. I had plenty of carnival rides when I was a kid.
Indeed.
I'm good.
Yeah. So they had a good time. That was the important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of big events that are coming up, it's almost time for the gala in the book.
I know.
So let's get into that with a brief recap of chapter 23 of our novel, in which Dani has another meeting with her mom in prison. It goes as cryptically and weird as it did last time.
Yep.
And then she heads back and tries to double check that Maeve's journal is accurate by getting Lord B out of his painting, and it works. And he disappears.
In a cloud of very old dust.
Indeed. And that leads us into chapter 24 of The Frame Up by Gwenda Bond. So Dani's off to the rabbit hutch.
Yes.
Yes. This is like on the brink of 0 hour, where we're practically on the day of the gala. Elliot turns up and everybody asks him how his tux fitting went, but he was like, no, I wasn't doing that. That's tomorrow. We'll go tomorrow morning and shop for clothes.
What was he doing?
I don't know. Suspicious.
Right?
But he also has the skinny on the events of the gala.
From back when he was overtaken by all of the exes.
I was going to say monopolized by the ex-wives. So
same thing.
He's got kind of an idea of the shape of the evening. So he kind of fills them in. Rabbit does ask Dani, are you sure we're still go for this? And Dani actually has a think about it for a moment, but realizes no, like...
This has to happen.
This has to happen. We need to do this. So yes, we're still in. And it sounds like they do kind of come up with a plan, but Gwenda Bond is playing with us here a little bit because they kind of like skim past what the plan is.
What we are given are
hints.
Some large puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume we will see how all those pieces fit together in the coming chapter or two. This is a common thing in a heist movie where you think you know the heist, but you don't actually know the heist because something's gone wrong. And so we have to redo the heist. And so now the mystery is actually how the heist is going to go. Yeah,
and that way when something goes wrong, quote unquote, in the heist, and it seems like all is lost, but then it turns out that, oh no, we had actually planned for that. Yeah. This is part of the plan.
Right? So we don't get to know the plan.
Yeah, so that we can be surprised. We do know a couple of the big pieces, though. Number one, Mia's ex-girlfriend, Liz, has been roped in. Despite Mia having originally been like, I don't want her involved, she's now involved. Apparently, Elliot had kind of put the bug in the ear of little Miss Emma that he knew some circus performers.
Well, because tying back to that little art lesson from Dani where she drew the circus tent, right?
And Emma likes the circus. So, and wouldn't you know it, Liz is basically a circus performer.
Yeah, she's an aerialist.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And she's part of a troupe, and they do like a circus act. And so the ex-wives and Emma were like, that sounds like wonderful entertainment. So they were booked. So they have an in because Liz's troupe needs to carry in a bunch of equipment.
Well, yeah. They're
And-
aerialists. They have like a set.
So if you're planning to smuggle in a forged painting,
Right? Good way to do it. ...
We also know that they've reached out to Brenner's team to try to smooth things over.
Yeah, we have to deal with Brenner.
Yeah, and Dani has made a pitch to him that will involve him still getting paid, but maybe both of their teams working in tandem. And we don't know the details, just that Brenner and Rabbit apparently worked things out, and Brenner's on board.
Yes. Rabbit knows who Brenner's buyer is.
We don't.
We don't. She slips it on a note to Dani, so
Yep.
now Dani knows, but we still don't get to know.
There's something in the works, and Brenner's on board with helping so that both heists can go smoothly.
Yes.
And the evil twins apparently won't be a factor because they're showing up for the auction, not for the gala.
Yeah, but...
I wouldn't be surprised if they still crashed the gala.
Right?
Yeah. But for the foreseeable future, it looks like they're going to be stealing a forgery.
We hope.
But we'll have to wait and see. That might be one of the little things that goes wrong when we actually get to the gala.
Maybe.
So,
obviously, we still have to deal with the twins.
So that's what we know about the heist. Dani goes to leave and head back to get a night's sleep because she knows she's going to need rest for the big heist day.
Yeah.
And she gets like that weird...
Yeah, that tinkle on the back of your neck feeling.
that something's not right. And sure enough, it's because Archer's like over by the barn making pointed eye contact.
Yeah, he's standing out in the yard like, I'm here.
So she follows him into the barn where the forgery has been stored. And Dani kind of like wordlessly goes over and unveils it. And he approves. He's like, I could barely tell the difference. But of course, he's not normal. So
No.
a normal person would certainly not be able to spot the difference. And Dani points that out like, well, you're not the one I'm trying to fool.
Basically.
And they have a little conversation here where Archer is basically along the lines of, don't mess with me. Like,
Well-
I know that you know what's going on. I know that you've read the diary.
Well, she tells him.
Well, and Maria told him.
Well, that too.
And basically...
But Dani knows better, right? She has nothing to hide at this point.
And he more or less is like, if you want the things I've promised you, don't mess with me. Your great-grandmother made that mistake, and your mom learned not to make that mistake. Don't repeat your great-grandmother's mistake.
Yes, I had an issue with this conversation. This whole thing in the barn rubbed me the wrong way.
Why?
Archer shows up and basically makes a threat,
Kinda.
and then Dani fills in all of these blanks.
Dani's superpower, as we've mentioned before, is jumping to conclusions.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that this part of the book was supposed to be like confirmation to Dani that she was right about a bunch of things. But that doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, Archer doesn't confirm anything. And
No.
Dani just makes a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, and then based on this, Dani makes a lot of assumptions of things we already know. Like, what was the whole point of this scene? Why was Archer there?
To remind her that she has a job to do and not to mess with him.
But
because
it doesn't do anything for the story.
Archer's smart enough and old enough to be suspicious of Dani's motivations. She's already betrayed the crew once
Yeah.
for altruistic reasons. And at the moment, she's ready to betray them again for altruistic reasons because she's convinced that Archer has power over her mom, and we suspect he really doesn't. She really is just dealing with a demon, knowingly and willingly.
Maybe. Probably.
But Dani's convinced herself that her mom can't be as bad as she seems, that certainly there's this external pressure on her, that Archer must be influencing her. Like, she's convinced herself of
Yes,
that.
I know. To the point where, like, the book is repeating itself. I didn't find this advance the plot or the characters. I didn't see the point of this scene because nothing new happened.
It does confirm a few things. For example, it's Archer confirming more or less how he can exist both within and without the painting.
Right.
And how he was being used by Hackworth. And to his credit, he even says, like, game recognized game. I actually kind of admired how he went for what he wanted and damn the consequences. Kind of appreciate that. I did chafe under it after a while because I don't like being trapped in a painting. But, I mean, again, game recognized game.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And then things kind of came up Archer after Hackworth died because Brad doesn't want anything to do with the collection. And this was an opportunity for him to finally get the painting back.
Yeah.
Now, is he planning on double-crossing Dani and Maria? Very probably.
Well, very probably. He's a demon. Can't be trusted.
Entirely possibly. But Dani's also trying to backstab him. So, I mean, she doesn't exactly have the moral high ground there. She's trying to preemptively betray him. We don't know if he's actually going to betray. Because, again, there does seem to be an agreement between him and Maria. So,
yeah.
My worry is that Dani's setting herself up for the FBI betrayal all over again.
Maybe.
By going against her mom's wishes because she believes something that isn't true. And she's been beating herself up over the FBI thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If Maria was serious about keeping Dani away from this, why is the journal still in existence? Why didn't she destroy it?
It's a living record of what was going on. And she did tear out the last few pages, the pages that tell you how to destroy the painting or how to free the demon inside of it.
Yeah, but if she was really serious, why do those pages still exist? Dani's like, she split it up to hide this extra from me. And I was like, if she genuinely wanted to hide it from you, to protect Archer, why didn't she burn those pages?
I don't know. But at the same time, Maria's also trying to preserve that history because her mom tried to hide it from her.
I think there's a whole separate story in here. Why didn't Maria's mother destroy the journal?
Well, that's hard to say.
I bet there's a whole story in that.
Possibly, but certainly the implication that we get from the text so far is that Maria's mother tried to hide it from her because she was worried that Maria would run off and do something stupid like team up with a demon, right. Which is literally exactly what she did.
See?
Yeah. Just
saying. If you want the cycle to stop, there are some things you need to do.
Indeed. Generational trauma.
Good times.
That's kind of it. Like, this was, as you say, a bit of an interstitial chapter. Which most of the end of day chapters tend to be. Yeah. Like tying up a couple things and then getting ready to move on to the next day. And that's certainly here. And we are at 0 hour. It's the day of. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're going to pick up as we read chapter 25, which you're going to want to read up on in time for next week. In the meantime, of course, as always, give us a little rating and a review because that helps us out.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, we also appreciate talking to you via social media.
Absolutely. Pick your favorite. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Goodreads, and Blue Sky. We are at The Read Along on most of those.
Yeah, you can also send us an email.
Yes, please do. You can reach us at thereadalong@gmail.com.
And with that said, as always, we love you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, I hope we get to go shopping with them.
Thank you for joining us on The Read Along with your hosts, Anita and Scott Bourgeois. All Read Along music is by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Cover art is by Aaron Beaver. Be sure to join us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Read Along, and check out our group on Goodreads.com.